"These uniforms are a disgrace," the principal sneered at the twin sisters. "If you come back dressed like this, you're expelled." As they cried, a quiet man touring the school stepped forward. But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. "Look at those fake uniforms! They're a disgrace!" Principal Finch shouted, pointing directly at Emma and Olivia Thompson. The entire school assembly fell silent. 500 pairs of eyes turned to stare at the 16-year-old twins standing frozen in the third row. The twins had been at Lincoln High School in Riverdale, Michigan for almost 2 years. They were good students who followed the rules and worked hard. But today, everything changed. "If you can't follow simple rules, perhaps you don't belong at Lincoln High," Principal Finch continued, his voice echoing through the silent auditorium. "Return tomorrow, properly dressed, or don't return at all." Tears filled Olivia's eyes as her sister Emma grabbed her hand. The whispers and snickers from their classmates felt like tiny needles poking their skin. 3 days earlier, on Friday afternoon, Karen Thompson had fallen asleep at the kitchen table. Bills were spread out in front of her. She had just finished her second 12-hour shift at Value Mart that week, on top of her regular job as a nurse's assistant at Riverdale Memorial Hospital. The twins found her there when they returned from school. "Mom, wake up," Emma said gently, touching her mother's shoulder. "You should go to bed." Karen lifted her head, blinking slowly. "What time is it?" 4:30, Olivia answered. "We brought home the mail." Karen nodded and sorted through the envelopes. "Any good news?" Emma and Olivia exchanged worried glances. "There's a letter from school," Emma said, pulling out an official envelope with the Lincoln High logo. Karen opened it and read silently. Her face grew pale. "What is it, Mom?" Olivia asked. Karen handed them the letter. "The school is implementing a mandatory uniform policy, starting Monday." Emma took the letter and read it aloud. "All students must wear the official Lincoln High uniform available exclusively from Premium School Apparel. Each complete uniform costs $350. $350? Olivia repeated. "Each? That's $700 total," Emma calculated quickly. "For both of us." Karen pressed her hands against her face. "That's more than our monthly rent." "Maybe there's financial assistance?" Emma suggested hopefully. Olivia shook her head. "Remember what happened when we applied for reduced lunch? Everyone found out, and Jason Miller called us charity cases for a month." Karen reached for her laptop. "Let me see the website." The Premium School Apparel website showed models wearing navy blue blazers with the school crest, plaid skirts for girls and khaki pants for boys. Every item had to be purchased separately. There was no mention of financial aid. "Mom, we don't need to get these," Emma said firmly. "We can just wear our regular clothes." "No," Karen replied, studying the images carefully. "The letter says students won't be allowed in class without proper uniforms." She closed her laptop decisively. "I can make these." "Make them?" Olivia asked. "How?" "My grandmother taught me to sew when I was younger than you," Karen explained. "I'll need to buy fabric, but I can make something similar." That night, after the twins went to bed, Karen drove to Discount Fabrics at the edge of town. She spent $48 on navy blue fabric, plaid material, and notions, all she could afford from her carefully managed budget. For the next 3 nights, Karen worked on the uniforms after her shifts. The twins helped where they could, learning basic stitches and how to pin patterns. By Sunday night, 2 nearly identical uniforms hung on the back of the bedroom door, missing only the embroidered school crest. "They look just like the real ones," Emma said, admiring her mother's work. "Almost," Karen replied, her eyes red from lack of sleep. "I hope they're close enough." On Monday morning, the twins put on their homemade uniforms. Karen took a rare photo before they left for school. "You both look beautiful," she said, hugging them tightly. I'm so proud of you." The walk to school felt longer than usual. Olivia kept tugging at her skirt. "Stop fidgeting," Emma told her. "No one will notice they're not the official uniforms." "What if they do?" Olivia whispered. "What if Principal Finch says something?" "Then we'll deal with it," Emma replied confidently. "Mom worked too hard for us to be ashamed." At the school entrance, their classmate Tyler Washington nodded approvingly. "Nice uniforms," he said. "They look good." Emma smiled. "Thanks, Tyler." The first few classes went smoothly. Some students wore the official uniforms with the Lincoln High crest. Others, like Emma and Olivia, wore similar clothes without the logo. Then came the morning assembly. Principal Walter Finch stood at the podium making announcements about upcoming events. His eyes scanned the auditorium as he spoke. When he noticed the Thompson twins, he stopped mid-sentence. "I see some students think our uniform policy is optional," he said coldly. Then he pointed directly at Emma and Olivia. "Look at those fake uniforms. They're a disgrace." After his public humiliation and ultimatum, the assembly continued. The twins remained frozen in place. When it ended, they rushed to the nearest bathroom, Olivia barely holding back tears. "I knew this would happen," Olivia sobbed once they were alone. "We should have just stayed home." Emma stood guard by the door. "No, we belong here just as much as anyone else." "Mom stayed up all weekend making these for us," Olivia said, looking down at her plaid skirt. "She was so tired she could barely keep her eyes open." "We can't tell her what happened," Emma decided. "It would break her heart. But what do we do tomorrow? Principal Finch said not to come back unless we have the real uniforms." Emma squared her shoulders. "We come back wearing exactly these. He can't kick us out for not being rich." A knock on the bathroom door startled them both. "Excuse me," called a deep male voice. "Are you girls all right in there?" Emma cracked the door open slightly to see a tall, well-dressed man with gray hair and kind eyes. "We're fine," she said cautiously. "I'm Dr. James Bennett, the district superintendent," he introduced himself. "I was at the assembly. May I speak with you both for a moment?" Emma looked back at her sister, who was hastily wiping away tears. She nodded reluctantly and opened the door wider. "What Principal Finch did was inappropriate," Dr. Bennett said once they stepped into the hallway. "Could you tell me about your situation with the uniforms?" The twins hesitated, looking at each other. "Our mom made them," Emma finally admitted. "We couldn't afford the official ones." "They cost $350 each," Olivia added. "Our mom works 2 jobs already." Dr. Bennett's expression darkened. "I see. And when was this uniform policy announced?" "Last Friday," Emma explained. "We had only the weekend to get them." "Mom stayed up 3 nights in a row sewing," Olivia said, her voice cracking. "She was so proud of how they turned out." Dr. Bennett took out a small notebook and jotted something down. "Thank you for telling me this. I'm going to look into the matter. In the meantime, please continue attending your classes." "Even in these uniforms?" Emma asked. "Especially in those uniforms, Doctor," Bennett replied firmly. As he walked away, the bell rang for the next class period. "Do you think he's really going to help us?" Olivia asked. Emma shrugged. "I don't know, but we're not giving up." They headed to their next class, unaware that their stand against Principal Finch had just gained a powerful ally. Around them, other students were already whispering about what had happened at assembly. Some looked at the twins with sympathy, others with curiosity. By lunchtime, the story had spread throughout Lincoln High. What the Thompson twins didn't know was that their simple act of wearing homemade uniforms had cracked open something much bigger than they could imagine. A growing resentment about the increasing costs of education at Lincoln High and the beginning of a movement that would change their school forever. The whispers and snickers followed Emma and Olivia as they pushed through the crowd. Emma gripped her sister's hand tightly, guiding her through the sea of staring students. The moment they were out of the auditorium, they ran to the girls' bathroom at the end of the hallway. Olivia locked herself in the last stall, her sobs echoing off the tile walls. "Olivia, please come out," Emma said, standing guard at the main door. "We need to talk about this." "I can't face anyone," Olivia cried. "Everyone saw Principal Finch humiliate us." Emma checked under the other stalls to make sure they were alone. "Listen to me. We need to be strong right now. We can't let Finch win." The bathroom door creaked open slightly and Emma jumped. "This is the girls' bathroom," she called out. "I'm aware," said Dr. Bennett, keeping the door mostly closed. "I just wanted to check if you two are all right. May I speak with you in the hallway when you're ready?" Emma looked toward Olivia's stall. "Give us 5 minutes, please." When the door closed, Olivia finally emerged, her eyes red and makeup streaked down her cheeks. "Here," Emma said, wetting a paper towel. She gently wiped her sister's face. "We need to clean you up." "What are we going to tell Mom?" Olivia asked, her voice shaking. "She worked so hard on these uniforms." Emma shook her head firmly. "Nothing. We can't tell Mom about this. It would break her heart after she stayed up 3 nights in a row sewing. But what about tomorrow? Principal Finch said not to come back without real uniforms. We'll figure something out. Right now, that superintendent wants to talk to us." The twins stepped into the hallway where Dr. Bennett was waiting patiently. "Thank you for speaking with me," he said kindly. "I'm Dr. James Bennett, District Superintendent. I was conducting an evaluation visit today." "Are we in trouble?" Olivia asked quietly. "No, not at all. I'm concerned about what happened in there. Principal Finch's behavior was inappropriate. Could you tell me why you don't have the official uniforms?" Emma looked at her sister, then back at Dr. Bennett. "We can't afford them. They cost $350 each." "And when was this uniform policy announced?" "Last Friday," Olivia said. "We only had the weekend to get them ready." "Our mom works 2 jobs," Emma added. "She's a nurse's assistant and a cashier at Value Mart on weekends. She made these uniforms herself." Dr. Bennett's expression softened. "She did an excellent job. They look very professional." "Not professional enough, apparently," Emma said bitterly. "May I ask about your family situation?" "Just to understand better." The twins exchanged glances again. Emma nodded slightly. "Our dad left 3 years ago," Olivia explained. "Mom works really hard to keep us in this school district because the education is better." "Thank you for sharing that," Dr. Bennett said, writing in his small notebook. "I'm going to look into this situation. In the meantime, please try to continue your day as normally as possible." As the bell rang, the twins headed to their separate classes. The morning dragged painfully as whispers followed them through the hallways. In the cafeteria, Emma and Olivia avoided their usual table, finding an empty corner instead. "I can't eat," Olivia said, pushing her lunch tray away. "Everyone keeps staring at us." Across the cafeteria, their classmate Tyler Washington was typing furiously on his laptop. Several students gathered around him, occasionally glancing toward the twins. "What's going on over there?" Emma wondered aloud. Minutes later, Tyler approached their table. "Hey," he said, sitting down without waiting for an invitation. "What Principal Finch did was wrong. I'm doing something about it." He turned his laptop toward them. On the screen was a petition titled, "End Economic Discrimination at Lincoln High." "I've already got 50 signatures," Tyler said proudly. "My dad's a single parent too. He works construction. These uniforms hit us hard." "You made this for us?" Olivia asked, surprised. "For everyone who can't afford to drop $700 on uniforms with no warning," Tyler replied. "It's not right." Suddenly, Principal Finch walked through the cafeteria doors. Students quickly closed laptops and scattered back to their tables. "He's watching us," Emma whispered. "Be careful, Tyler." "Let him watch," Tyler said, though he closed his laptop. "This isn't over." In English class that afternoon, Ms. Rebecca Collins noticed Olivia's reddened eyes. "Olivia, would you stay after class for a moment?" she asked as the bell rang. When the other students left, Ms. Collins closed the door. I heard what happened this morning. Are you okay? Olivia stared at her shoes. Not really. I want you to know that not all teachers agree with how this uniform policy was implemented, Ms. Collins said, or how Principal Finch treated you and your sister. Thank you, Olivia said quietly. But what can we do? We can't afford the real uniforms. Sometimes standing up for what's right is more important than following unjust rules, Ms. Collins replied. Then she added, I've seen Tyler's petition. It's gathering quite a following. After school, Emma and Olivia met at their lockers. Should we come back tomorrow? Olivia asked. Principal Finch said not to return without proper uniforms. If we don't come back, we're letting him win, Emma argued. Mom didn't raise us to give up. But what if he kicks us out for real? We could get suspended. Then at least we tried, Emma said firmly. I'm wearing this uniform tomorrow. You can decide for yourself. When they arrived home, Karen was getting ready for her evening shift at the hospital. How was the first day with your new uniforms? She asked, smiling tiredly. Emma quickly stuffed her blazer into her backpack. Fine. Everyone had different versions. Some had the crest, some didn't. Did anyone say anything about them? Karen asked. Nope, Olivia lied, avoiding eye contact. No one even noticed. Karen beamed with pride. I'm so glad. I was worried they wouldn't look right. They're perfect, Mom, Emma said, hugging her. You did an amazing job. After Karen left for work, the twins carefully hung their uniforms in their closets. I hate lying to her, Olivia said. We're protecting her, Emma corrected. She has enough to worry about. Across town, Miss Collins sat in her living room, phone in hand. After several minutes of hesitation, she dialed. Dr. Bennett? This is Rebecca Collins, English teacher at Lincoln High. I'm calling about what happened today with the Thompson twins. She lowered her voice even though she was alone. There's more you should know about Principal Finch. This isn't the first time he's targeted students from lower-income families. As Miss Collins continued her conversation, Dr. Bennett made notes in his office, occasionally asking questions. Thank you for bringing this to my attention, Ms. Collins, he said finally. I'll be visiting Lincoln High again tomorrow. Please keep this conversation confidential for now. Later that night, Emma heard her bedroom door creak open. Olivia stood in the doorway, moonlight casting shadows across her face. I can't sleep, she admitted. Emma scooted over in her bed. Me neither. Olivia climbed in beside her sister, just like when they were little. I've been thinking about tomorrow. And? I'm scared to go back, Olivia confessed, but I'm more scared of what happens if we give up. So you'll wear the uniform? Emma asked. Olivia nodded. Mom stayed up 3 nights making them. The least I can do is wear it for one more day. One day at a time, Emma agreed. We'll face tomorrow together. As dawn broke over Riverdale, the Thompson twins weren't the only ones preparing for the day ahead. In his home office, Principal Finch drafted new disciplinary measures for students who failed to comply with school policies. A thin smile spread across his face as he typed the final paragraph. Students who deliberately violate school uniform requirements will face immediate detention and possible suspension. No exceptions will be made. He printed the document and placed it in his briefcase, completely unaware of the resistance that was building throughout Lincoln High, or the district superintendent who would be waiting for him when he arrived. Principal Finch arrived at Lincoln High Tuesday morning with his briefcase in hand. When he walked into the main office, he was surprised to see Dr. Bennett sitting there, speaking quietly with his secretary. Dr. Bennett, Principal Finch said, forcing a smile. I wasn't expecting you again today. I thought we should continue our discussion about school policies, Dr. Bennett replied, especially regarding the new uniform requirements. Before Principal Finch could respond, a commotion near the school entrance caught his attention. Through the office window, he spotted Emma and Olivia Thompson walking into the building, still wearing their homemade uniforms. "Excuse me," Principal Finch said coldly. "I have a discipline issue to address." Emma and Olivia walked with their heads high through the main hallway. Students stepped aside, some whispering, others offering small nods of support. "Everyone's staring," Olivia whispered. "Let them," Emma replied. "We belong here just as much as anyone." They had barely reached their lockers when the secretary's voice came over the loudspeaker. "Emma and Olivia Thompson, please report to the principal's office immediately." The twins exchanged nervous glances. "That was fast," Emma said. "He must have been watching for us." In Principal Finch's office, they stood side by side as he glared at them from behind his desk. "I thought I made myself clear yesterday," he said. "These homemade uniforms are unacceptable." "We can't afford the official ones," Emma stated firmly. "Our mom made these for us." "That's not my problem," Principal Finch replied. He slid 2 pink slips across his desk. "Detention, every day this week, and I'll be calling your mother to discuss your defiant behavior." "This isn't fair," Olivia said, her voice barely audible. "Life isn't fair, Miss Thompson. The sooner you learn that, the better." As they left his office, Emma noticed Dr. Bennett watching from the hallway. He nodded slightly at them before entering Principal Finch's office, closing the door behind him. The day got worse in first period. When Mr. Peterson handed back their math quizzes, Emma stared in disbelief at the large D- written on hers. "Mr. Peterson," she said after class, "I checked my answers. They're all correct. Why did I get a D-?" The math teacher looked uncomfortable. "Your work wasn't properly shown," he mumbled, not meeting her eyes. "Sorry, I have another class coming in." In third period, Olivia found something scribbled on her locker. The word "fake" was written in erasable marker. She quickly wiped it away before Emma could see it. During passing period, Tyler Washington caught up with them. "Hey," he said, showing them his phone. "The petition has 200 signatures now. People from other schools are even signing it." "Really?" Emma asked, surprised. "Yeah, everyone's talking about what happened yesterday. Some parents are getting involved too." "Be careful, Tyler," Olivia warned. "We don't want you to get in trouble." Tyler shrugged. "My dad says standing up for what's right is always worth the risk." At lunchtime, the twins sat alone at a corner table. They had just opened their packed lunches when someone unexpected approached. Amber Chen, the student council president. Amber was always perfectly dressed in the official uniform, her long black hair neatly styled. Her father was a doctor, and her mother sat on the school board. The cafeteria grew quieter as Amber stopped at their table. "Can I join you?" she asked. Emma and Olivia exchanged surprised glances. "Sure," Emma said cautiously. Amber sat down, placing her designer lunch bag on the table. Students at nearby tables stared openly. "I want to talk about what Principal Finch did yesterday," Amber said. "It wasn't right." "Why do you care?" Emma asked. "You can afford the real uniforms." "That's exactly why I care," Amber replied. "My parents can buy whatever I need without even checking the price. But most families aren't like that. This whole uniform thing happened so suddenly. No one had time to save up." "We got detention," Olivia told her, "and he's calling our mom." Amber's expression darkened. "He can't punish you for being unable to afford something." "He already is," Emma said. "I got a D- on a perfect math quiz this morning." "That's illegal," Amber said firmly. "My mother sits on the school board." "She doesn't know about any of this. The board approved a basic dress code, not this expensive, exclusive supplier." The bell rang, ending lunch. As they stood up, Amber lowered her voice. "Be careful, but don't give up. You have more support than you know." After school, the twins reported to detention in Ms. Collins's classroom. They were surprised to find they were the only students there. "Just read quietly or do homework," Ms. Collins told them. "I have some papers to grade." 20 minutes into detention, the classroom door opened. Mr. Rodriguez, the school janitor, came in, pushing his cleaning cart. "Sorry to disturb, Ms. Collins," he said. "Need to empty the trash." "No problem, Mr. Rodriguez," Ms. Collins replied. "How are you today?" "Busy," he answered, emptying the trash can. Then he added, "Very busy last night, too." Principal Finch had me clean his office at 9 o'clock. Lots of paper in the shredder. Very unusual. Ms. Collins raised her eyebrows. "What kind of papers?" Mr. Rodriguez glanced at the twins before answering. "Financial documents. I noticed these things. My brother works at a bank." "Financial documents?" Emma repeated, interested despite herself. Mr. Rodriguez nodded. "School records, budget papers, supplier contracts, all going through the shredder. Very strange." After he left, Ms. Collins studied the twins thoughtfully. "You two should know that many teachers are concerned about what's happening," she said quietly. "Not everyone agrees with Principal Finch's methods." When detention ended, Emma and Olivia walked through the now empty hallways. "Did you notice something weird today?" Emma asked. "Besides getting detention and failing grades we don't deserve," Olivia replied. "Look at the other students' uniforms," Emma said. "Really look." Olivia thought about it. "You're right. Jackson's blazer was missing 2 buttons, and Lily's skirt hem was uneven, and Maria's—" "Exactly," Emma interrupted. "Little changes. Things that make them not quite perfect. They're doing it on purpose." Outside, they spotted Principal Finch getting into his car, a brand new black Mercedes. "Teacher salaries must be better than I thought," Emma muttered. When they arrived home, the answering machine was blinking. Emma pressed play. "This is Principal Finch from Lincoln High School," the recorded voice said. "I need to schedule a meeting with Karen Thompson regarding her daughter's defiant behavior and uniform violations. Please call my office to arrange a time this Friday. This is a mandatory meeting." Emma quickly deleted the message. "What are you doing?" Olivia asked. "Mom needs to know about the meeting." "We need to figure this out ourselves," Emma insisted. "Mom is working double shifts this week. She's exhausted." "Emma, we can't hide this forever," Olivia argued. "Principal Finch will just call again." Before Emma could respond, they heard a key in the front door. Karen Thompson walked in looking tired but smiling at the sight of her daughters. "Hi girls, how was school?" "Fine," they said in unison too quickly. Karen looked at them carefully. "What's wrong?" "And don't say nothing. I know those faces." Olivia glanced at Emma, then took a deep breath. "Mom, we need to tell you something about school." "What is it?" Karen asked, setting down her purse. "It's about the uniforms," Emma admitted. "Yesterday at morning assembly, Principal Finch pointed us out in front of everyone. He said our uniforms were fake and a disgrace." Karen's face paled. "He said what?" "He gave us detention today," Olivia continued, tears forming. "And there was a message from him wanting to meet with you on Friday." Karen sat down heavily on the couch. "Why didn't you tell me yesterday?" "You worked so hard on the uniforms," Emma explained. "We didn't want to upset you." Karen pulled her daughters close. "Listen to me. You never need to protect me from the truth. We're a family. We face things together." She looked at the uniforms they were still wearing. "I am so proud of you both for going back today. That took real courage." "What are we going to do about Friday?" Olivia asked. Karen's expression hardened. "I'm going to meet with Principal Finch, and he's going to hear exactly what I think about how he treated my daughters." "But what about the uniforms?" Emma asked. "We still can't afford the official ones." "Then we'll continue wearing these," Karen said firmly. "There must be options for families who can't afford expensive uniforms. If there aren't, then something is very wrong with this school." That night, Karen made a phone call to request Friday afternoon off from her hospital shift. As she hung up, she didn't know that across town, Principal Finch was making plans of his own. He had just finished a private phone call with 2 school board members who were loyal to him. convincing them to attend Friday's meeting as a show of authority against the Thompson family. "We need to make an example of them," Finch had said. "Otherwise, the entire uniform policy will fall apart. Other families will think they can get exceptions too." What Principal Finch didn't realize was that his carefully constructed system was already beginning to crumble, and that Friday's meeting would not go according to his plan at all. Wednesday morning arrived with a sense of tension throughout Lincoln High School. Word of the conflict between Principal Finch and the Thompson twins had spread beyond the school walls. Parents were discussing the uniform policy in Facebook groups, and students from neighboring schools were signing Tyler's petition. Emma checked her school email during breakfast and froze. "What's wrong?" Olivia asked, noticing her sister's expression. "My grades," Emma said, turning her phone so Olivia could see. "My GPA dropped from 3.8 to 2.7 in just 2 weeks." Olivia leaned closer to look at the screen. "That's impossible. You've never gotten anything below a B+. Look at these grades." Emma scrolled through the list. C- in English, D in history, D- in math. These are all classes where I've handed in perfect work. "They're punishing us for the uniforms," Olivia whispered. "This could ruin your scholarship chances." Karen entered the kitchen, already dressed for her hospital shift. "What are you two whispering about?" "Nothing," Emma said quickly, putting her phone away. "Just school stuff." Karen studied her daughter's faces. "Remember what we talked about yesterday? No more secrets." "I'm having trouble with my grades," Emma admitted. "I think it might be related to the uniform situation." "I'll add that to my list for Friday's meeting," Karen said, her expression determined. "Now finish your breakfast. I'll drive you to school on my way to work." At Lincoln High, the halls were buzzing with activity. Green ribbons had appeared on several students' backpacks, a small symbol of solidarity with the growing movement against economic inequality at the school. Olivia headed to the school newspaper office before first period. She had spent hours working on an article about the uniform policy and its impact on students from different economic backgrounds. Mrs. Parker, the faculty advisor, read through Olivia's draft quickly. "This is well written, Olivia," she said, "but I can't publish it." "Why not?" Olivia asked, disappointed. "I included quotes from different students. I researched the cost of uniforms at other schools. It's balanced and factual." Mrs. Parker glanced nervously toward the door. "It raises concerns about school reputation. Principal Finch has to approve all newspaper content, and he would never allow this." "So we're being censored too," Olivia said quietly. "I'm sorry," Mrs. Parker replied. "Maybe try writing about the spring dance instead?" During second period, Principal Finch's voice came over the loudspeaker. "Attention all students! Due to recent uniform violations, we will be conducting random compliance checks between classes. Any student found with unauthorized uniform modifications will receive immediate detention." In chemistry class, Amber Chen passed Emma a folded note. "Meet me in the empty classroom across from the library during lunch. Important info." After class, Emma found Tyler in the hallway surrounded by a group of students. 500 signatures, he told her proudly, showing her his phone. "Parents are sharing it everywhere now." 500? Emma repeated, amazed. "That's almost half the school." "Plus people from other schools," Tyler added. "Everyone's talking about it." Suddenly, Principal Finch appeared at the end of the hallway. Students scattered quickly, shoving phones into pockets and backpacks. "No gathering in the hallways," Finch called out. "Get to your classes immediately." As Emma turned toward her next class, she spotted her mother's car in the school parking lot. Karen was delivering cleaning supplies for her weekend shift at Lincoln High, her second job that helped keep the family afloat. Emma felt a rush of pride and determination. Her mother worked so hard for them. The least she could do was continue fighting for what was right. At lunch, Emma and Olivia slipped into the empty classroom where Amber was waiting, a tablet computer in her hands. "I need to show you something," Amber said, keeping her voice low. My mom is on the school board, so my dad has access to their files. Look at this." She pulled up a document showing uniform supplier contracts. "Until 3 months ago, Lincoln High used Valley School Outfitters for all uniforms," Amber explained. "Their sets cost $150 each. Then suddenly the supplier changed to premium school apparel with prices jumping to $350. More than double the price," Emma noted, "for basically the same uniform." "Exactly," Amber said. "And the weird part is that premium school apparel barely exists. It was registered as a business just 6 months ago. They have no other school contracts. So someone created a company just to sell expensive uniforms to our school?" Olivia asked. "That's what it looks like," Amber replied. "And the school board never voted on this change. My mom was surprised when I asked her about it." The lunch bell rang, cutting their conversation short. "One more thing," Amber said as they gathered their things. "My dad checked, and other schools in our district pay way less for their uniforms. We're paying 60% more for identical items." That afternoon in history class, Mr. Rodriguez, the janitor, entered to empty the trash cans. As he passed Emma's desk, he discreetly dropped a folded paper onto her book. When the teacher turned to write on the board, Emma unfolded the paper. It contained pieced-together shredded documents, payment records between premium school apparel and someone identified only as WF. Emma's heart raced as she carefully refolded the paper and slipped it into her pocket. WF Walter Finch. The principal was getting payments from the uniform company. After school, the twins waited until detention was over to examine the documents more carefully in the library. "Look at these amounts," Emma whispered. $2,000 on September 15th, another $3,000 on October 10th. That's when the uniform policy was announced, Olivia noted. "Exactly," Emma replied. "Finch is getting kickbacks from the uniform company. He's making money off every uniform purchased." Ms. Collins found them huddled in the library corner. "Girls, you need to be careful," she warned quietly. "Principal Finch has been looking for you." "Ms. Collins, we found something important," Emma said, showing her the pieced-together documents. "Look at these payments to WF." Ms. Collins studied the papers, her expression growing serious. "Where did you get these?" "Mr. Rodriguez rescued them from the shredder," Olivia explained. "This is very serious," Ms. Collins said. "I need to call Dr. Bennett right away." Back home that evening, Karen was practicing what she would say at Friday's meeting. "I believe every student deserves respect, regardless of their financial situation," she rehearsed as the twins recorded her on their phone for confidence. "That sounds perfect, Mom," Olivia encouraged. "I'm so nervous," Karen admitted. "I've never confronted someone like Principal Finch before." "You'll be amazing," Emma assured her. "And we have evidence now that something isn't right with this uniform policy." "What kind of evidence?" Karen asked. The twins exchanged glances. "We think Principal Finch might be getting money from the uniform company," Emma explained. "That's why he's so strict about it." "The company was created just 6 months ago," Olivia added, "and our school pays much more than other schools for the same uniforms." "That would be highly unethical," Karen said, frowning. "Do you have proof?" Emma hesitated, then pulled out the pieced-together payment records. "These show payments to someone called WF. We think that's Walter Finch." Karen studied the documents carefully. "This is very serious. If this is true, the school board needs to know." As Karen sewed small symbols of resistance onto her daughter's uniforms, tiny embroidered words reading dignity hidden inside their collars, the Thompson family didn't know that their confrontation with Principal Finch would become much bigger than they ever imagined. Across town, Principal Finch was meeting with 2 loyal school board members in his expensive home. "The Thompson situation has gotten out of hand," he told them. "They're gathering support from other students and parents." "What exactly is the problem with their uniforms?" asked Gregory Watson, the board treasurer. "It's not about the uniforms anymore," Finch replied sharply. "It's about authority. If we let them break the rules, others will follow." the entire system will collapse. "What do you need from us?" Diana Watson, Gregory's wife and fellow board member, asked. "Be at Friday's meeting," Finch instructed. "Show a united front. This family represents disorder and defiance that needs to be eliminated from Lincoln High immediately." What Principal Finch didn't know was that his carefully constructed financial scheme was about to be exposed, and that Friday's meeting would change everything at Lincoln High forever. Friday morning arrived with a tension that could be felt throughout Lincoln High School. Karen Thompson stood in front of her bedroom mirror adjusting the collar of her best blazer, a navy blue second-hand find she had carefully steamed the night before. Her hands trembled slightly as she pinned on her nurse's assistant badge from Riverdale Memorial Hospital. "Mom, you look great," Emma said from the doorway. "Very professional." Karen smiled nervously. "I haven't been this worried about a meeting since your father left." "You don't need to be worried," Olivia assured her, joining her sister. "We have evidence that Principal Finch is doing something wrong." "That's what concerns me," Karen replied. "People with power don't like being challenged." The twins exchanged glances. "We'll be right there with you," Emma promised. "Ms. Collins is going to make sure we can leave class for the meeting." In the kitchen, Karen packed the folder of evidence while making breakfast. "Remember, no matter what happens today, I'm proud of both of you for standing up for yourselves." At school, the twins were surprised to see how many students were now wearing green ribbons on their backpacks. At least 100 students displayed the small symbol of solidarity against the unfair uniform policy. During lunch, Amber Chen found the twins in the library where they were reviewing their evidence one final time. "Important news," Amber whispered, glancing around to make sure no one was listening. "My mother is coming to your meeting today." "Your mother?" Olivia asked. "Why?" "She's suspicious about the uniform contract now. She says the board never approved changing suppliers or raising prices," Amber explained. "And she's bringing another board member, Mr. Clark, who oversees school finances." "That could help us," Emma said hopefully. "There's more," Amber continued, lowering her voice further. "Dr. Bennett will be there too. This isn't just a parent-teacher conference anymore. It's becoming an official inquiry." The school day passed slowly. In final period, the twins watched the clock nervously until Ms. Collins appeared at the classroom door. "I need Emma and Olivia Thompson for a meeting," she announced. In the hallway, Ms. Collins handed them a note. "Your mother is waiting in the main office. Good luck." Karen sat stiffly in the main office, clutching her purse. When she saw her daughters, she stood up quickly. "Are you ready?" she asked, her voice steadier than she felt. Emma nodded. "Mr. Rodriguez said he'll meet us outside Principal Finch's office with the final pieces of evidence." The school secretary led them down the administrative hallway. Outside Principal Finch's office, Mr. Rodriguez was waiting, as promised, holding a folder. "I found more documents this morning," he whispered, handing the folder to Emma. "Registration papers for premium school apparel. Look at the owner names." Emma quickly opened the folder and gasped. Principal Finch owns 30% of the company. "That's why he changed suppliers," Olivia realized. "He's making money from every uniform." Karen took a deep breath. "Let me go in first. Wait 5 minutes, then join us with the evidence." The secretary knocked on Principal Finch's door and opened it. "Mrs. Thompson is here for her appointment." Karen stepped into the office and stopped in surprise. Principal Finch sat behind his desk, but he wasn't alone. Dr. Bennett sat to his right. 2 women in business attire were seated on the left. One was Diana Clark, Amber's mother, and the other was introduced as Nancy Peterson from the district office. "Mrs. Thompson," Principal Finch said with a tight smile, "please sit down." Karen took the single chair facing the desk, feeling suddenly outnumbered. "I understand we're here to discuss your daughter's uniform violations," Principal Finch began, "but I think we need to address the larger issue of their defiant attitude." "My daughters are not defiant," Karen replied calmly. "They simply cannot afford $350 uniforms. Many families make sacrifices to follow school rules. Finch countered. "Perhaps if you prioritize their education over other expenses." "I work 2 jobs," Karen interrupted, her calm beginning to crack. "I'm a nurse's assistant and I clean this school on weekends. Every penny goes to keeping a roof over our heads and food on our table." Dr. Bennett leaned forward. "Mrs. Thompson, could you tell us when you were first notified about the uniform requirement?" "Last Friday afternoon," Karen answered. "My daughters brought home the letter. It said they had to have the uniforms by Monday." Diana Clark frowned. "That's not much notice for such an expensive purchase." "The board approved this policy months ago," Finch said dismissively. "The implementation date was clear." "Actually," Diana replied, "the board approved a basic dress code. We never specified an exclusive supplier or set a price point of $350. Finch's face reddened slightly. "The supplier was chosen based on quality and reliability." "Was there a bidding process?" Dr. Bennett asked. "Other schools in our district use suppliers with much lower prices." "This isn't about suppliers," Finch said, his voice rising. "This is about the Thompson girls deliberately breaking rules and undermining my authority." The office door burst open. Emma and Olivia entered, followed by Mr. Rodriguez. "It is about suppliers," Emma said firmly, "specifically about you owning part of the company that supplies our uniforms." Principal Finch stood up abruptly. "This is outrageous. You can't barge in here with wild accusations." Olivia stepped forward, opening the folder Mr. Rodriguez had given them. "These are the registration documents for premium school apparel. You own 30% of the company, Principal Finch." She laid the papers on his desk. Diana Clark picked them up, scanning them quickly. "Walter, is this true?" she asked, her expression hardening. "This is a business investment, completely separate from my role as principal," Finch insisted. "Then why did you switch suppliers mid-year?" Emma asked. "And why are our uniforms 60% more expensive than identical ones at other schools?" Mr. Rodriguez stepped forward. "I found these payment records in the shredding bin," he said, placing more papers on the desk. "They show money transferred from premium school apparel to WF on the exact dates when uniform orders were placed." Principal Finch lunged across his desk, reaching for the documents. "Those are private business records. You had no right to take them from the trash." His arm knocked over his desk lamp, which fell against a stack of papers. In seconds, the papers caught fire. "Fire!" Dr. Bennett shouted, jumping to his feet. Smoke quickly filled the small office. Principal Finch grabbed his computer, yanking it from the desk. "Leave it!" Diana Clark commanded. "We need to evacuate!" The fire alarm began blaring throughout the school. As smoke billowed from under the office door, students and teachers poured into the hallways and headed for the exits. Outside on the school field, hundreds of students gathered in their designated areas. Emma and Olivia stood with their mother, surrounded by curious classmates asking what had happened. "Principal Finch started a fire in his office," one student told another. "I heard he's being investigated for stealing money," another whispered. Dr. Bennett approached the Thompson family, his expression serious but kind. "Are you all right?" he asked. Karen nodded. "What happens now?" "The fire department is checking the building," Dr. Bennett explained. "But regarding Principal Finch, that's a more complicated situation. The evidence you presented is very serious." Across the field, they could see Principal Finch arguing with Diana Clark and other administrators. His face was red with anger. Amber pushed through the crowd to reach them. "My mom just texted me. Finch tried to delete files from his computer during the evacuation, but the IT department already backed everything up last night on Dr. Bennett's orders." "So they have proof?" Olivia asked hopefully. "Lots of it," Amber confirmed. "Financial records, emails about the uniform contract, everything." Tyler joined them, his phone in hand. "My petition has over 10,000 signatures now. Local news stations are calling me for interviews." As students gathered in small groups across the field, more stories began to emerge. Principal Finch canceled our art supplies order last month, said Maria Garcia from the art club. He said there was no money in the budget, but he approved new track equipment that cost thousands, added Jackson Williams from the track team. I didn't think about it then, but now it seems wrong. Karen watched as more parents arrived, concerned about the evacuation. Many approached her after hearing bits of the story from their children. Is it true? One mother asked. Finch was making money from the uniforms? It appears that way, Karen answered carefully. The school board is investigating. Diana Clark made her way through the crowd toward them. Mrs. Thompson, she said formally, the board is calling an emergency meeting for this evening. We'd like your family to attend. This situation goes beyond uniform policy. We need to address the apparent financial misconduct. We'll be there, Karen promised. As the fire trucks departed and students were sent home for the day, the Thompson family stood together on the field, watching Principal Finch being escorted to his car by security personnel. I can't believe we actually did it, Olivia said quietly. We stood up to him, and people listened. It's not just about us anymore, Emma realized. This is about making school fair for everyone. Karen put her arms around her daughter's shoulders. I'm so proud of you both. Today you learned that speaking up for what's right can be hard and even scary, but it's always worth it. None of them noticed the man watching them from the parking lot, Harold Finch, the principal's brother and a member of the state education board. He made a quick phone call as he observed the scene. Walter's in trouble, he said to the person on the other end. We need to contain this situation before it spreads beyond Lincoln High. These Thompson people have no idea who they're dealing with. The evacuation at Lincoln High continued for nearly an hour as firefighters ensured the small fire in Principal Finch's office was completely extinguished. Students huddled in groups across the athletic field, many texting their parents about the unexpected drama. Emma spotted Principal Finch across the field, frantically typing on his phone. Look, she whispered to Olivia. He's panicking. A maintenance worker approached Dr. Bennett, who had taken charge of the situation. The fire's completely out, he announced loudly enough for nearby students to hear. It was contained to Principal Finch's office. Just some burned papers and desk damage. Relief spread through the crowd, but the excitement was far from over. Word about why the fire started had already begun spreading from student to student. Is it true? Asked a sophomore girl approaching Emma and Olivia. Did Finch really own the uniform company? Before they could answer, more students gathered around them, asking questions. Did he really give you detention for wearing homemade uniforms? My mom paid $700 for my brother and me. Can we get that money back? Is Finch going to jail? Karen noticed her daughters becoming overwhelmed and stepped between them and the growing crowd. Everyone, please. There's an ongoing investigation. The school board will provide answers soon. Dr. Bennett climbed onto a bench and raised a bullhorn. Attention Lincoln High students and staff. Due to today's incident, classes are canceled for the remainder of the day. Please collect essential belongings once the building is cleared. Parents may pick up students at the south entrance. As he spoke, 3 news vans pulled into the school parking lot. Reporters emerged with cameras and microphones, heading straight for the crowds of students. This is getting intense, Olivia whispered to her mother and sister. I never expected all this. A reporter spotted Tyler, who was still holding his phone displaying the petition website. Are you the student who started the uniform petition? She asked, microphone extended. Tyler looked nervous but nodded. Yes, I'm Tyler Washington. Your petition has gone viral with over 10,000 signatures. Did you expect this level of response? Tyler glanced toward the Thompson family before answering. I just wanted to help my classmates who couldn't afford the uniforms. I didn't expect it to uncover corruption. The reporter turned toward the crowd. Do we have the Thompson family here? The students who first challenged the uniform policy? Karen protectively moved closer to her daughters. We're not making statements right now. Parents began arriving to pick up their children, many approaching Karen after hearing bits of the story. Mrs. Jimenez, whose daughter Maria was in the art club, joined Karen. "Is it true about the art supplies?" Maria said they were told there was no budget, but Finch spent money on sports equipment instead. "From what we've learned, there may have been many financial irregularities," Karen answered carefully. More parents gathered around Karen, sharing stories. "My son needed a scholarship recommendation," one father said. Finch denied it, saying there were stronger candidates. "But my son had the highest grades in his class." "The senior trip was cancelled last year due to budget constraints," another parent added. "But they built that new faculty lounge the same month." Across the field, Diana Clark and the other board members huddled in serious conversation. Security personnel stood near Principal Finch, preventing him from leaving campus with his briefcase and computer. "He's trying to destroy evidence," Amber explained, joining the Thompson family. "But it won't work." The IT department backed up all the school servers last night after Dr. Bennett became suspicious. "How did Dr. Bennett know to do that?" Emma asked. "Ms. Collins told him about the documents you found," Amber replied. "He ordered a full backup of all financial records before today's meeting, just in case." Mrs. Gonzalez, the art teacher, approached Dr. Bennett with a folder. "Dr. Bennett, I have records of art supplies that were ordered and paid for but never received. I've been keeping track for 2 years." Similar scenes played out across the field as teachers and staff members came forward with their own evidence of mismanagement and possible fraud. Diana Clark finally approached the Thompson family, her expression serious. "The board has called an emergency meeting for 6 o'clock tonight. We'd like your family to attend to present your evidence." "Of course," Karen agreed. "We want to help however we can." "This goes beyond uniform policies now," Diana continued. "We're finding evidence of kickbacks from multiple vendors, not just the uniform company." By mid-afternoon, most students had gone home, but the parking lot remained full of administrators, board members, and news crews. The Thompson family sat under a tree processing the chaotic events. "I feel like we started an avalanche," Emma said quietly. "You didn't start anything," Karen corrected her. "Principal Finch's actions did this. You just had the courage to point them out." Olivia had been unusually quiet. Now she looked up from her notebook where she'd been writing. "I keep thinking about all the families who paid for those overpriced uniforms. Some probably put it on credit cards or skipped paying other bills. The board will have to address that," Karen assured her. "They can't ignore it now." At 6 o'clock, the Thompson family arrived at the district office for the emergency board meeting. The small boardroom was packed with parents, teachers, and local media. Principal Finch sat stiffly in the front row beside a man in an expensive suit, clearly his lawyer. The board president called the meeting to order. "Due to today's events at Lincoln High School, we're holding this emergency session to address serious allegations against Principal Walter Finch." For the next hour, evidence was presented, financial records showing Finch's ownership stake in premium school apparel, emails directing staff to use specific vendors who later paid him kickbacks, budget documents showing funds redirected from academic programs to athletic facilities where his son coached. When it was the Thompson family's turn, they presented their evidence about the uniform policy, how it was suddenly implemented with no financial assistance options, how Finch publicly humiliated students who couldn't afford the uniforms, and how he used detention and grade manipulation to punish those who spoke up. Principal Finch's lawyer repeatedly objected, claiming the evidence was obtained improperly or taken out of context. Finally, Finch himself stood up. "This is a witch hunt led by troublemaking students and their enablers," he declared. "I've dedicated 20 years to education. Everything I did was to maintain standards at Lincoln High." "Standards shouldn't exclude students based on family income," Karen responded firmly. "I'll be filing a lawsuit against the district and the Thompson family specifically," Finch threatened, "for defamation and improper access to private business records." The room fell silent until Mr. Rodriguez stepped forward, holding his phone. "Before you do that," he said quietly, "you should know I have this." He pressed play and Finch's voice filled the room. "The beauty of this setup is that every time a student needs a uniform, we make money. $350 per uniform, 30% comes back to me. With 600 students, do the math. And next year we'll require new styles so they have to buy again." The recording continued as Finch laughed about parents too stupid to question the costs. Principal Finch's face drained of color. "Where did you get that? You recorded me illegally." "You were talking loudly in your office while I cleaned," Mr. Rodriguez replied. "The door was open. In Michigan, that's legal." After a brief recess, the board returned with their decision. By a vote of 7-1, Walter Finch was suspended immediately pending criminal investigation. Dr. Bennett was appointed interim principal of Lincoln High. Additionally, the board president announced, all uniform requirements are suspended until a more equitable policy can be developed with parent and student input. As the meeting adjourned, the Thompson family received congratulations and thanks from many parents and teachers. Karen checked her phone and found dozens of supportive messages from co-workers who had seen the story on local news. "Let's go home," she said to her daughters. "It's been a long day." As they walked to their car, Emma noticed a man watching them from across the parking lot. The same man who had been speaking with Principal Finch earlier. He was talking on his phone while staring directly at them. "Mom, who's that man?" she asked. Karen followed her gaze. "I don't know. Why?" "He was watching us at school too," Emma said. "And he looks like Principal Finch." "That's Harold Finch, Walter's brother," Mr. Rodriguez said, joining them at their car. "He works for the state education board. Be careful around him." On the drive home, the twins were unusually quiet, processing everything that had happened. "Are you two okay?" Karen asked, glancing at them in the rearview mirror. "I'm proud of what we did," Olivia said slowly, "but also a little scared about what happens next." "Me too," Emma admitted. "Principal Finch has powerful connections. What if his brother tries to hurt us somehow?" Karen gripped the steering wheel tightly. "We did the right thing. We have support from the school board, Dr. Bennett, and many parents and teachers. We'll face whatever comes next together." When they arrived home, Emma opened her laptop to check social media. Within seconds, her face paled. "What's wrong?" Olivia asked, looking over her shoulder. "I just got a text message," Emma said, showing her phone. "It says, 'You've made powerful enemies today. Finch has friends in the district office, and this isn't over.'" "Who sent it?" Karen asked, taking the phone. "I don't know," Emma replied. "It's from a number I don't recognize." Karen set the phone down. "This is intimidation. We should report it to Dr. Bennett tomorrow." Despite the threatening message, the Thompson family slept better that night than they had all week. They had stood up for what was right, and for the first time since the uniform crisis began, they felt that justice might actually prevail. Monday morning arrived with a mix of anticipation and worry for the Thompson family. The threatening text message Emma had received Friday night was still on their minds as they prepared for school. "Are you sure you want to go today?" Karen asked, putting breakfast on the table. "You could stay home if you're worried about that message." "We can't hide," Emma replied, though her voice wasn't as confident as usual. "If we don't show up, whoever sent that text wins." Olivia nodded in agreement. "Besides, Dr. Bennett is in charge now. Things will be different." As they approached Lincoln High, they noticed immediate changes. The school entrance displayed a large banner reading Lincoln High School, Community Education, Respect. Dr. Bennett stood at the front doors greeting students. "Emma, Olivia," he called when he spotted them. "I'd like to see you in my office after first period, please." Inside, the atmosphere was different. Teachers smiled more freely, and students talked openly about the events of Friday. During morning announcements, Dr. Bennett's voice came over the speaker system. "Good morning, Lincoln High. As your interim principal, I want to announce several immediate changes. First, the strict uniform policy is temporarily suspended. Students should dress neatly and appropriately while the board develops a more equitable dress code with student and parent input. Cheers erupted in classrooms throughout the school. Second, we're forming a student advisory committee to address economic barriers to education. Interested students can sign up in the main office. Finally, anyone who purchased uniforms from premium school apparel may apply for refunds. Forms are available in the office. After first period, Emma and Olivia reported to the principal's office, now Dr. Bennett's office. The burned desk had been removed and the room rearranged with a round table replacing the imposing desk Finch had used. Ms. Collins was there too, sitting beside Dr. Bennett. "Thank you for coming," Dr. Bennett said. "I have two pieces of news. First, Ms. Collins has agreed to be my assistant principal. She'll be leading our efforts to create a more inclusive school environment." Ms. Collins smiled warmly. "Which brings us to why we called you here. Olivia, we'd like you to write a feature article for the school newspaper about economic inequality in education. Your perspective would be valuable." Olivia's eyes widened. "Really?" Principal Finch never allowed articles like that. "Things are changing, Ms. Collins replied. "The newspaper should reflect student voices, not administrative censorship." "And Emma," Dr. Bennett continued, "we'd like you to join the student advisory committee. Your experience standing up against unfair policies makes you an ideal candidate." Emma nodded, surprised but pleased. "I'd be happy to." "One more thing," Dr. Bennett said, his tone becoming more serious. "Your mother called me about the threatening text message you received. We're taking it very seriously. Security has been increased, and all staff are on alert for any concerning behavior." Throughout the day, the twins experienced their new celebrity status. Some students approached with congratulations, while others kept their distance, whispering as the girls walked by. In third period, Emma opened her locker to find a folded note. Her heart raced as she unfolded it, expecting another threat. Instead, it read, "Thank you for your courage," with dozens of signatures from students. At lunch, Amber Chen waved them over to a table where students from different social groups sat together. "I'm organizing mixed-table lunches," Amber explained, breaking down the barriers between different groups at school. "That's amazing," Olivia said, taking a seat between a football player and an art club member. "After what you guys did, lots of us realized how divided our school has been," Amber continued, "not just about money but about everything." After school, Karen arrived to meet with Dr. Bennett. As she walked through the hallways, parents and teachers stopped to thank her. "Mrs. Thompson," called Mrs. Rivera, a parent she recognized from her weekend cleaning shifts, "I hear you made your daughter's uniforms yourself. Could you teach me how to sew? My son's clothes never fit right and I can't afford new ones." "I'm not an expert," Karen said modestly. "But you're skilled enough," Mrs. Rivera insisted. "Many parents would benefit from learning basic sewing." In Dr. Bennett's office, he had an unexpected proposal. "Mrs. Thompson, we have an unused home economics room with sewing machines. Would you consider teaching a weekly workshop for students and parents? We could offer a small stipend." Karen was shocked. "Me? Teach? You have valuable skills," Dr. Bennett explained. "Part of rebuilding our school community is recognizing that education comes in many forms, not just academics." "I would need to work around my hospital schedule," Karen said thoughtfully. "But yes, I'd like that." On Tuesday morning, Olivia was invited to the newspaper office, now under new faculty supervision. The previous advisor, Mrs. Parker, had admitted that Principal Finch pressured her to censor student articles. "We want your feature to be our cover story," the new advisor, Mr. Bridges, told her. "Your experience highlights important issues about economic inequality in education." Olivia left the newspaper office feeling validated. In the hallway, she passed the school counselor's office and noticed Emma inside with Dr. Bennett and several students, including Tyler Washington. Later, Emma explained they were discussing the new student assistance program. "Local businesses want to sponsor students who can't afford school supplies. Finch apparently rejected these offers in the past, saying it would damage the school's prestigious image. As the week progressed, the investigation into Principal Finch deepened. Mr. Rodriguez found additional financial documents hidden in the maintenance closet. He was stealing from everywhere, Emma told her family at dinner Wednesday night. Art supplies, library funds, even money raised for student scholarships. How did he get away with it for so long? Karen wondered. People were afraid to question him, Olivia explained, and he had friends in powerful positions, like his brother at the state education board. Karen's first sewing workshop on Thursday afternoon exceeded all expectations. 30 people, students, parents, and even 2 teachers crowded into the home economics room. I never imagined so many people would come, Karen whispered to her daughters who had stayed to help. Everyone respects you, Mom, Emma said. You stood up to Finch when many were afraid to. The workshop was a success. Karen taught basic stitching techniques and how to perform simple alterations. Parents shared resources and tips, forming new friendships across economic lines. Friday morning brought unexpected news. Olivia received an email notification that her article on economic inequality had won first place in the state high school journalism competition, a contest Mrs. Parker had submitted it to despite initially rejecting it for the school paper. I can't believe it, Olivia said, showing the email to Emma. Judges called it brave and insightful reporting on a critical issue affecting students nationwide. You deserve it, Emma replied proudly. You've always been the better writer. Their celebration was interrupted when Emma opened her locker and found another note. This one wasn't friendly. Troublemakers get what they deserve. This isn't over. Emma quickly showed the note to Miss Collins, who took it seriously. We'll check the security cameras, she promised. Whoever is doing this won't get away with it. Despite the threatening notes, positive changes continued throughout the school. Diana Clark led a board initiative to audit all vendor contracts, finding 3 more conflicts of interest that had benefited Principal Finch and his allies. Emma's academic record was officially corrected, restoring her original grades. The counselor confirmed she was back on track for college scholarships. On Friday afternoon, an unexpected envelope arrived at the Thompson home. Inside was a letter from the governor's office requesting Emma's participation in a newly formed state task force examining hidden costs in public education. They want me to represent student perspectives, Emma said in disbelief. The governor mentioned our case specifically as an example of why this task force is needed. That's wonderful, Karen said, hugging her. Your voice will help students across the entire state. As they celebrated this news, they heard a crash. Someone had thrown a brick through their front window. Taped to the brick was a note, "Troublemakers." Karen immediately called the police and Dr. Bennett. Within an hour, officers were taking statements while neighbors gathered outside in support. We're not intimidated, Karen told the officer. We did the right thing and we won't be silenced by these threats. That evening, community members arrived with tools and materials to repair the window. Among them were teachers, parents, and students from Lincoln High. This is what real community looks like, Mrs. Jimenez said as she helped clean up broken glass. We take care of each other. As Emma pinned the task force invitation to their family bulletin board, she felt a mix of pride and determination. What had begun as a simple stand against an unfair uniform policy had grown into something much larger, a movement to make education truly accessible to all students regardless of their economic background. The fight wasn't over, but they weren't fighting alone anymore. 2 weeks after the brick incident, Lincoln High prepared to host the most important town hall meeting in the school's history. The meeting would address not just the uniform policy but all economic barriers affecting students. News of the event spread throughout Riverdale, drawing attention from neighboring communities. Emma stood in front of her closet Monday morning, wondering what to wear to such an important event. "Mom, do you think I should wear something formal tonight?" she called. Karen appeared in the doorway. "Just wear something that makes you feel confident." People are coming to hear your ideas, not judge your clothes." The school day passed in a blur of nervous energy. Teachers shortened lessons to allow students time to prepare for the evening meeting. In the library, Emma gathered with the Student Advisory Committee to review their presentation. "Remember, we need to focus on solutions, not just problems," Emma told the group. "We've identified 23 hidden costs that create barriers for students." Tyler nodded, updating their slides. "I've added examples of how each cost affects different family situations." Across the school, Olivia worked with the newspaper team to prepare handouts showing their research on economic inequality in education. These charts clearly show how family income correlates with participation in school activities, Olivia explained. When activities have fees or require special equipment, lower-income students simply can't participate. By 6 o'clock, cars filled the Lincoln High parking lot. The maintenance staff had added extra chairs to the auditorium, but people still stood along the walls and in the back. Local news cameras set up in designated areas. Karen and her daughters arrived early, surprised by the massive turnout. "I didn't expect so many people," Olivia whispered. Dr. Bennett greeted them at the side entrance. "We have reserved seats for you in the front. The board members are already here." As they took their seats, Emma scanned the audience. Students, parents, teachers, and community members filled every available space. She also noticed several well-dressed people she didn't recognize, whispering to each other in the third row. "At exactly 7 o'clock, Doctor." Bennett approached the podium. "Good evening and welcome to this special town hall meeting. Tonight we'll address Lincoln High's uniform policy and broader issues of economic accessibility in education. I ask everyone to be respectful of different viewpoints." He introduced the school board members seated on stage, including Diana Clark, who had been supportive of the Thompson family. "We'll begin with statements from various perspectives, then open for discussion and proposals." A wealthy parent was the first speaker. Mrs. Harrison, mother of a football player, approached the microphone. "Uniforms are essential for creating equality," she argued. "When everyone wears the same clothes, no one can tell who comes from money and who doesn't. They teach discipline and prepare students for professional environments." Several parents nodded in agreement. Then Tyler's father, a construction worker, spoke next. "Equality isn't about looking the same," Mr. Washington countered. "It's about having the same opportunities. When uniforms cost $350 each, they create barriers, not equality." The discussion continued with passionate statements from both sides. Teachers spoke about watching students struggle with various hidden costs, from lab fees to field trip expenses. Suddenly, the auditorium doors opened. Walter Finch entered with his attorney and 3 board members who hadn't attended previous meetings. The room fell silent as they walked down the center aisle. "I believe I have the right to address this meeting," Finch announced loudly. "As the principal of Lincoln High for 12 years. Diana Clark leaned toward the microphone. "Mr. Finch, you are currently suspended pending investigation. This is inappropriate." "Actually," Finch's attorney interjected, "we've filed a motion challenging the suspension on procedural grounds. Until that's resolved, Mr. Finch retains his title." One of the board members who entered with Finch, Gregory Watson, stood up. "The suspension vote did not follow proper protocol. We should reinstate Principal Finch immediately while the investigation continues." Murmurs spread through the audience. Dr. Bennett tried to maintain order. "This meeting is about school policy, not personnel matters," he reminded everyone. "But leadership determines policy," Finch argued. "I have letters from dozens of community leaders supporting my reinstatement." The meeting descended into heated arguments. Parents shouted questions, board members debated procedure, and the original purpose seemed lost in the chaos. Emma glanced at her mother and sister, then stood up and walked to the microphone. The room gradually quieted as people noticed her waiting patiently. "My name is Emma Thompson," she began, her voice shaking slightly. "My sister and I were humiliated in front of the entire school because our mother made our uniforms instead of buying the expensive official ones." She paused, taking a deep breath. But this isn't just about uniforms anymore. It's about all the hidden costs that prevent students from fully participating in education. Emma unfolded several pieces of paper containing stories she had collected. This is from Maria Garcia. I couldn't join the science team because the competition fee was $100 plus travel expenses. I had the highest science grade in my class. She read another, from James Wilson. I stopped playing band when my instrument broke. Rental was $40 monthly, which my dad couldn't afford after losing his job. Emma continued reading stories, her voice growing stronger with each one. She described students unable to attend field trips, participate in sports, or even complete homework due to economic barriers. These aren't just sad stories, Emma concluded. They represent lost opportunities and wasted potential. We're not asking for charity. We're asking for a school system that recognizes different economic realities and ensures everyone can fully participate in education. The room remained silent when she finished. Then, one person began clapping, followed by another, until most of the audience was on their feet applauding. Olivia approached the microphone next, connecting her laptop to the projector. Graphs and charts appeared on the screen behind her. Our research found direct correlations between family income and participation in school activities, she explained, pointing to her data. When costs go down, participation goes up. It's that simple. She presented specific examples of how economic barriers affected academic performance, using statistics from their own school. Students who can't afford graphing calculators score 20% lower on math tests, even with equal study time. Students who miss field trips score lower on related assignments. These aren't opinions, these are facts. When Olivia finished, Karen took her place at the microphone. She seemed nervous but determined. I'm not an education expert, she began. I'm a nurse's assistant who also cleans this school on weekends to support my daughters. She unfolded large poster boards showing designs for school clothing. I'd like to propose a community uniform program, basic items in school colors, made with quality but affordable materials. We could create a workshop where parents help each other with alterations and repairs. Karen showed cost comparisons between her proposal and the current uniform requirements. This approach would cost about $70 per student instead of $350 and would create a true sense of community. After Karen's presentation, several local business owners approached the microphone. Mrs. Jimenez, who owned a fabric store, spoke first. I pledged to donate materials for families who can't afford uniforms, she announced, and offered discounts to all Lincoln High families. Mr. Taylor, who owned a print shop, offered to provide free logos and patches. Other business owners followed with similar pledges of support. As the meeting continued, it became clear that the majority favored a more flexible and affordable approach to school dress codes. Board member Diana Clark called for a formal vote on two issues: Principal Finch's employment and the uniform policy. All in favor of terminating Walter Finch's employment permanently based on evidence of financial misconduct? 5 board members raised their hands. 3, those who had arrived with Finch, did not. The motion passes 5-3, Diana announced. Mr. Finch is formally terminated. Finch stood up angrily. This is a railroading. I've already consulted with my attorney about a wrongful termination lawsuit, and I'll be naming the Thompson family specifically for defamation. The room erupted in shouts until Mr. Rodriguez stepped forward, holding his phone. I think everyone should hear this before threats are made, he said calmly. He played a new recording, a conversation between Finch and his brother Harold discussing how to hide kickbacks from multiple school vendors, not just the uniform company. We can funnel it through that shell company we set up, Finch's voice said clearly. No one checks those transactions. We've been doing it for years. Finch's face turned white. His attorney whispered urgently in his ear. Without another word, they quickly left the auditorium, followed by security personnel. Diana Clark resumed the meeting. Now, regarding the uniform policy, I move that we implement a core colors approach, where students need only wear specific colors, not expensive branded items. The vote passed unanimously with additional provisions for a student assistance fund to help families who couldn't afford even the basic requirements. As the meeting concluded, Emma found herself surrounded by students and parents thanking her for speaking up. Local reporters requested interviews, which she politely declined, feeling overwhelmed by the attention. "You were amazing," Karen told her daughters as they walked to their car. "Both of you. I couldn't be more proud." "Do you think it's really over?" Olivia asked. "With Finch, I mean." "The school board part is over," Karen answered carefully, "but people like Walter Finch don't give up easily. His brother still has power at the state level." Emma checked her phone and found a notification that surprised her. "The governor just followed me on social media and sent a direct message asking if I'd be willing to speak with her education policy team." This is getting bigger than Riverdale, Karen realized. What happened at Lincoln High is starting conversations all over the state. As they drove home, none of them noticed the car following at a distance. Harold Finch was making another phone call, this one to a state senator who owed him a favor. "We need to contain this situation," he said urgently. "These Thompson people are becoming a symbol for education reform. If their story keeps spreading, it could affect policies statewide." The morning after the town hall meeting, Emma woke up to her phone buzzing with notifications. She squinted at the screen and gasped, "Mom! Olivia, come quick!" she shouted. Karen and Olivia rushed into Emma's bedroom, still in their pajamas. "What's wrong?" Karen asked, worried. Emma pointed to her laptop. "We're on the state news." She clicked play on a video from Michigan State News Network. The anchor was speaking as footage showed Emma at the microphone during the town hall meeting. "A uniform controversy at Lincoln High School in Riverdale has uncovered extensive financial misconduct," the anchor reported. 16-year-old Emma Thompson exposed how former Principal Walter Finch profited from an expensive uniform policy that placed unfair burdens on lower-income families. The news segment included clips of Emma's speech and interviews with parents and teachers. It ended with the reporter saying, "This case has caught the attention of state education officials who are now examining similar policies across Michigan." "I can't believe it," Emma whispered. "They're talking about us like we're some kind of heroes." Karen squeezed her daughter's shoulder. "You are heroes. You stood up when it would have been easier to stay quiet." The phone rang, and Karen answered. Her face changed from surprise to shock as she listened. "Yes, Governor Wilson. She's right here," Karen said, handing the phone to Emma with wide eyes. Emma took the phone with trembling hands. "Hello? Emma Thompson, this is Governor Sarah Wilson. I was very impressed by your speech at the town hall meeting. My education team has been following your story closely." "Thank you," Emma managed to say. "I'm forming a task force to examine hidden costs in public education across our state," the governor explained. "I'd like you to join as a student representative. Your first-hand experience would be invaluable." When Emma hung up, she could barely speak. "The governor wants me to be on her education task force, to help make policies for the whole state." Monday at school, the atmosphere was electric. Students greeted the Thompson twins with high fives and congratulations. During morning announcements, Dr. Bennett's voice came over the speakers. "I'm pleased to announce that Ms. Rebecca Collins has been appointed the permanent principal of Lincoln High School." Cheers erupted throughout the building. In English class, Ms. Jameson looked at Olivia with a bright smile. "Olivia, could you stay after class for a moment?" she asked when the bell rang. When the other students left, Ms. Jameson handed Olivia an official-looking envelope. "This came for you today." Olivia opened it and gasped. "I won first place in the state high school journalism competition for my article on educational inequality. The judges called it powerful reporting that gives voice to an essential issue," Ms. Jameson read from her own notification. "They've invited you to speak at the awards ceremony next month." During lunch period, Amber Chen found the twins in the cafeteria. "Have you seen the library?" she asked excitedly. Local businesses donated books and supplies. They're calling it the School Supplies for All program. The three girls walked to the library, where a large table displayed new calculators, notebooks, art supplies, and other materials with a sign, "Take what you need, no questions asked." Mrs. Chen, Amber's mother and school board member, was helping organize the donations. "This is just the beginning," she told the twins. "We're auditing all vendor contracts. We've already found 3 more conflicts of interest where Finch was getting kickbacks." After school, Karen arrived for her sewing workshop, now moved to a larger classroom to accommodate 30 students and parents. She was surprised to see a news crew setting up cameras. "Mrs. Thompson, may we film your workshop for our Community Heroes segment?" a reporter asked. "I'm not a hero," Karen protested. "I'm just teaching basic sewing skills." "You're showing people how to help themselves," the reporter replied. "That's the definition of a hero in my book." As Karen demonstrated how to hem pants, the classroom door opened. Ms. Collins entered, smiling at the busy scene. "Karen, could I speak with you after the workshop?" she asked. When the session ended, Ms. Collins sat down with Karen. "The community center has approached me," she explained. "They've received funding for vocational training programs and want to offer you a part-time position teaching practical skills classes." Karen was stunned. "Me? Teaching officially?" "Your workshop has shown there's huge demand for these skills," Ms. Collins said. "It would be 2 evenings a week with a proper salary." That evening, Emma met with the college counselor who had reviewed her academic record. "Everything has been corrected," Mrs. Patterson confirmed. "Your GPA is back to 3.9 and I've updated your college applications with an explanation of the circumstances." "Thank you," Emma said, relieved. "I was worried my scholarship chances were ruined." "Actually," Mrs. Patterson smiled, "several universities have contacted me specifically about you. Your advocacy work has caught their attention." Meanwhile, across town, Walter Finch appeared at the county courthouse for his arraignment hearing. He was charged with fraud, embezzlement, and misappropriation of public funds. Local news cameras captured him entering the building with his attorney. "Mr. Finch, do you have any comment on the charges?" a reporter called out. Finch ignored the questions, his face grim. On Friday afternoon, Olivia started a new program at Lincoln High, a student mentoring initiative that paired academically strong students with those needing support. "The best part is that it costs nothing," she explained to Dr. Bennett. "Just students helping students." "This is exactly the kind of program we need," Dr. Bennett approved. "It addresses educational gaps without creating financial barriers." When the Thompson family arrived home that evening, they found a large gift basket on their porch with a note signed by dozens of Lincoln High families. "Thank you for your courage." Inside the basket were gift cards for local restaurants, homemade treats, and a beautiful hand-knitted blanket. "I never expected this," Karen said, touched by the gesture. Saturday morning, Emma received an invitation to speak at a neighboring school district's board meeting about educational equity. Though nervous, she agreed. "Your story is powerful," the superintendent told her after her presentation. "You've inspired our district to review all our policies for hidden costs." That same day, an official-looking envelope arrived addressed to both Emma and Olivia. Karen called them to the kitchen to open it together. "It's from the National Education Foundation," Olivia said, scanning the letter. Her eyes widened. "They're offering us full college scholarships, both of us." The letter explained that the foundation had created a new scholarship program for students who demonstrated exceptional leadership in educational equity. "This means you can go to any college that accepts you," Karen said, tears forming in her eyes. "No student loans? No working extra jobs during school?" The family was still celebrating when they heard a loud crash. Karen rushed to the living room to find a brick on the floor surrounded by broken glass from the window. Written on the brick was a single word: troublemakers. "Not again," Emma said, staring at the brick. "I thought this was over." "People who lose power don't give up easily," Karen said, already calling the police. Within 30 minutes, Officer Jenkins arrived to take their statement. "This is the second incident?" he asked, photographing the brick and broken window. "Yes," Karen confirmed. The first was 2 weeks ago, right after Principal Finch was suspended. Though we've been investigating threats against your family, Officer Jenkins said. We believe they're connected to Harold Finch, Walter's brother. He's been making calls to various officials trying to discredit your story. Can you protect them? Karen asked, worried. We're increasing patrols in your neighborhood, the officer assured her, and the district attorney wants to meet with you Monday about adding witness intimidation charges to Walter Finch's case. After the officer left, the family sat in the kitchen, the broken window covered with cardboard until it could be properly repaired. I'm proud of what we did, Olivia said firmly, but sometimes I wonder if it was worth all this. It was worth it, Emma replied. Think of all the students who will benefit from the changes at Lincoln High. And now with the governor's task force, we might help students across the entire state. Karen hugged her daughters. Change is never easy, but standing up for what's right is always worth it, even when it's difficult or scary. The next morning, they awoke to the sound of hammering. Looking outside, they saw Mr. Washington, Tyler's father, repairing their broken window. He wasn't alone. At least 20 people from Lincoln High were in their yard, including teachers, parents, and students. We heard what happened, Mr. Washington explained. Thought we'd show you that for every person trying to scare you, there are dozens more standing with you. As Emma watched the community rally around her family, she pinned the task force invitation to their bulletin board. What began as a simple stand against an unfair uniform had grown into a movement that was changing education across Michigan. Despite the threats, she knew they had already won the most important battle, showing that ordinary people could stand up against injustice and make real change happen. 1 year had passed since the Thompson family's stand against an unfair uniform policy changed Lincoln High forever. The school hallways buzzed with excitement as students and staff prepared for a special ceremony commemorating the anniversary of those transformative events. Emma stood in front of the main hallway, watching as Mr. Rodriguez carefully mounted a large bronze plaque on the wall. The plaque read, "Educational Access for All, the Thompson Legacy." "What do you think?" Principal Collins asked, joining Emma. "It's a bit much," Emma admitted. "We didn't do this alone." "True," Principal Collins smiled, "but someone needed to take the first step. Your family had that courage. The past year had brought remarkable changes to Lincoln High. The core colors uniform policy, requiring only specific colors, not expensive branded items, had been so successful that 12 other schools districts across Michigan had adopted similar approaches. Karen Thompson had become a sought-after consultant, helping other schools implement affordable uniform options. In the former detention room, now transformed into the Student Assistance Center, volunteers organized donated supplies. The center provided everything from calculators to interview clothes for college applications, ensuring no student missed opportunities due to financial constraints. Olivia entered the main office carrying the latest edition of the school newspaper. As editor-in-chief, she had transformed the publication into an award-winning paper focused on educational equity and student voices. "The anniversary edition is finished," she announced, handing copies to Principal Collins and Emma. The headline read, "1 year later, How Student Activism Changed Education in Michigan." "This is excellent, Olivia," Principal Collins praised. "Your journalism has really put Lincoln High on the map." "Thanks," Olivia replied. "I just finished interviewing representatives from the other schools that adopted our uniform policy. They're all coming to the ceremony tomorrow." Emma checked her watch. "I need to get to the student advisory meeting. We're finalizing next year's initiatives." In the library, Emma took her place at the head of the table as chair of the Student Advisory Board. The group had grown to 25 members representing diverse economic backgrounds. "Let's review what we've accomplished this year," Emma began. "We eliminated hidden fees in all school programs, created the weekend food backpack program, and established the technology lending library." Tyler Washington, now vice chair of the committee, added, and we've secured funding for next year's initiatives from local businesses and the state education department." After the meeting, Emma stopped by her locker, where 3 college acceptance letters were taped inside. Boston University, Northwestern, and University of Michigan had all offered her scholarships to study political science and educational policy. Meanwhile, in the home economics room, Karen was hosting representatives from other school districts interested in implementing the core colors policy. Though she still worked as a nurse's assistant 4 days a week, she now taught vocational classes at both Lincoln High and the community center. "The key is flexibility within structure," Karen explained to the visitors. "Students need to look neat and appropriate, but families need affordable options." "How did you manage the transition?" asked a principal from a neighboring district. "Community involvement was essential," Karen replied. "We created uniform exchanges, sewing workshops, and business partnerships. Everyone contributed in different ways." That evening, the Thompson family gathered around their dinner table, joined by Dr. Bennett, now the state education commissioner after his successful work at Lincoln High. "I have some news," Dr. Bennett announced. "Governor Wilson is signing the Educational Accessibility Act tomorrow morning. She specifically asked if your family could attend the ceremony." "The actual signing?" Emma asked, surprised. Dr. Bennett nodded. "Your work on the task force directly shaped this legislation. The governor wants to recognize that." The Educational Accessibility Act would eliminate hidden school costs and provide transparency in educational spending statewide. Emma had spent countless hours working with legislators to draft language that would protect students from economic barriers to education. "There's something else," Dr. Bennett continued, pulling an envelope from his briefcase. "The state education department has created an annual award in your family's honor, the Thompson Family Courage in Education Award. It will recognize individuals who break down barriers to educational access." Karen's eyes filled with tears. "That's unnecessary. We just did what was right." "Sometimes doing what's right when it's difficult is exactly what should be recognized," Dr. Bennett replied. Across town at the county courthouse, Walter Finch entered a courtroom for his sentencing hearing. After months of legal proceedings, he had pleaded guilty to reduced charges of financial misconduct. The judge looked down at him sternly. "Mr. Finch, you abused your position of trust for personal gain. However, considering your previously clean record and community service, I'm sentencing you to 5 years probation, 2,000 hours of community service, and full restitution of all misappropriated funds." Finch's attorney looked relieved at the lack of jail time, but Finch himself seemed diminished, his arrogance replaced by defeated resignation. The following day, Lincoln High held its special commemoration ceremony. The auditorium was filled beyond capacity, with attendees standing along the walls and in the back. Principal Collins welcomed everyone. "1 year ago, our school faced a crisis that revealed deeper problems of inequality and financial misconduct. Today, we celebrate not just the resolution of that crisis, but the new, more inclusive community we've become." The ceremony included presentations from various students and teachers highlighting the changes at Lincoln High. The art department, once neglected under Finch's administration, showcased an impressive student exhibition. The previously underfunded music program performed throughout the event. A particularly moving moment came when a freshman girl, Jessica Martinez, spoke about how the Student Assistance Center had changed her experience at Lincoln High. "Last year at my old school, I couldn't join any activities because everything cost extra money," she explained. "At Lincoln High, I'm on the debate team, I play volleyball, and I never have to worry about not having the right supplies for class." After several speeches, Principal Collins invited Karen to the stage. Though still uncomfortable with public speaking, Karen had become more confident over the past year. "When my daughters first came home needing expensive uniforms, I felt helpless," Karen began. "I couldn't afford them, but I couldn't let my daughters miss school. So I sewed uniforms that looked similar." She paused, looking out at the audience. What happened next was difficult. But it led to something important. A conversation about who belongs in education and who gets left out because of money. Karen gestured to the sewing workshop participants seated together. Now we don't just make uniforms, we're building skills and community. We're showing that education comes in many forms, and everyone has something valuable to contribute. The ceremony concluded with the unveiling of the plaque in the main hallway, followed by a community reception where families from different economic backgrounds mingled freely, a scene that would have been unimaginable under Principal Finch's leadership. 2 weeks later, graduation day arrived for Lincoln High seniors. Emma, as senior class president, prepared to deliver the commencement speech. In the staging area, she carefully adjusted her graduation cap, which featured a hand-embroidered message sewn by her mother. Authenticity over uniformity. Olivia helped straighten Emma's honors cords. Nervous? A little, Emma admitted. It's a big responsibility. You've spoken to the governor and state legislators, Olivia reminded her. This should be easy. When Emma's name was called, she walked confidently to the podium. Looking out at the audience, she saw her mother and sister in the front row, both beaming with pride. 2 years ago, I stood in this auditorium wearing a homemade uniform, feeling humiliated and powerless, Emma began. Today, I stand here having learned that one person's voice, joined by others, can change an entire system. She spoke about the journey from that difficult moment to the present, highlighting not her own role but the community that formed around a common cause. What I've learned is that education isn't just about books and tests. It's about creating spaces where everyone belongs, regardless of their economic background. It's about recognizing that different circumstances don't mean different worth. Emma concluded by announcing the senior class gift, a permanent endowment for the Student Assistance Fund to help future families facing financial hardship. As she moved her tassel from right to left, signifying her graduation, Emma looked toward her family. Karen was wiping tears, while Olivia gave her a thumbs up. Beside them sat Dr. Bennett, who would present Emma with the first Thompson Family Courage in Education Award at the reception following the ceremony. The Thompson twins had learned that sometimes justice requires both speaking up and standing firm. Their experience highlighted how economic inequality affects educational access and demonstrated that true community emerges when people recognize different circumstances but equal worth. Most importantly, they discovered that changing an unjust system sometimes begins with something as simple as a homemade uniform and the courage to wear it proudly. As Emma joined her family after the ceremony, she reflected on their journey. What began as a crisis had transformed into a movement that extended far beyond Lincoln High, touching schools across the state. The twins were heading to college with full scholarships, Karen was balancing her healthcare career with teaching, and their story had inspired a new generation of student advocates. The uniform crisis had ended, but its legacy of greater educational access for all students was just beginning. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen.